I used a dating app to find my research sample. But it didn't start that way. I didn't open the app with any academic intention. I was new to Bilbao, I wanted to meet locals, and a dating app like Tinder felt like the easiest way to meet people. My dates quickly turned into tours, pinchos, long walks, and conversations about work, life, and dreams. None of this felt like research. I was just trying to build a life in a place where I didn't know anyone. But in the middle of those conversations, I started hearing exactly what my dissertation was trying to understand. At some point on every date, someone would ask, "So, what are you doing in Bilbao?" And I would explain that I was researching the recognition, validation, and accreditation of non-formal learning. Basically, how people can get credit for what they already know, even if they didn't go to school. And almost every time the reaction was the same. A pause, curiosity, and then something like, "Wait, that exists?" Is exactly what Serge Moscovici describes as social representations. People make sense of abstract ideas by anchoring them in the everyday reality. For them, recognition wasn't a policy term. It was simply about feeling seen. And here, people had so much learning in their lives, so many skills, and had no idea that recognition existed, that there was a different path, that it wasn't schooling. I remember one guy who worked installing and repairing commercial refrigerators. He had been doing this job for 5 years. He had learned everything through practice. No classroom, just experience. He told me, "I need a degree just to keep my job. With that paper, I could sign as a manager. Without it, I can't move." What he was describing is exactly what Randall Collins calls the credential society, a system where paperwork replaces knowledge, and where opportunities depend not on what you know, but on what you can prove on a paper. Another date was taking short Lanbide courses, the Basque government employment agency. He explained that most people in those courses already knew how to do the job, but they needed a certificate to make their CV look official. He said, "Most of us here already know how to work, but the certificate gets you the interview." Collins would say these certificates act as social signals, not indicators of learning, but of legitimacy. And then there was someone who said something so simple but so powerful that I still think about it. "One day of experience is worth more than all the diplomas on my CV." But companies only care about the paper. Paulo Freire wrote that the lived experience of the oppressed contains its own form of knowledge. And that was exactly what I was hearing. Knowledge learned through life, not classroom. These weren't data points. These were real people trying to build a life in a world where identity, opportunity, and dignity depended on credentials they didn't have. And suddenly I realized, if I wanted to understand recognition, I needed to talk to the people who felt unrecognized. My sample wasn't something I found. I feel like the sample found me. The research plan my advisor and I designed was very academic. Interview policy experts, government officials, specialists in recognition systems. But every time I went on a date, I was learning more from these encounters than from anything I could get from an official meeting. Berger and Luckman say that reality is constructed in everyday conversations, and that's exactly what was happening. People weren't talking in abstract terms. They were talking about their lives. "I've been doing this job for years, but without the credentials, I'm invisible. Companies don't trust experience unless someone stamps it." So I changed my methodology. Instead of interviewing experts, I interviewed people I was learning from in my daily life. These conversations made the credential society come alive for me. People told me, if you don't have a degree, you can't even apply. A certificate makes you visible. My boss only cares about the paper. Axel Honneth argues that recognition is not a luxury. It is a precondition for self-realization. When institutions fail to recognize people's lived experience, he says they experience social invisibility. And that's exactly what I was witnessing. People didn't doubt their skills. They doubted their worth because the system didn't recognize them. Collins would say that the problem isn't learning, it's credential inflation. A world where the paperwork requirements keep rising, regardless of whether the job actually changes. The irony: recognition policies existed to fix this problem, but the people that needed them, the people I was literally sitting across from, had never heard of them. These policies and these ideas stayed in the academic and political sphere without reaching the people in need. When I stepped back from all these conversations, I realized something simple. People understand big ideas, like learning, recognition, opportunity, through the lens of their everyday lives. Not through policies, not through definitions, through their own stories. My dissertation helped me name what I was seeing. It helped me understand that people anchor meaning in their lived experiences. That recognition is not an abstract goal. It's the feeling of being valued. That knowledge is something we build together in conversation, not something experts hand down. What I was hearing on Tinder made perfect sense. These men weren't speaking in policy language, but they were describing the consequences of policy. They were teaching me everything I needed to know about recognition just by telling me about their lives. People didn't lack knowledge. They lacked recognition. They lacked someone to tell them what they knew already mattered. Freire said that to speak a true word is to transform the world. The true words I heard were spoken casually on walks, in unplanned conversations, and those words transformed my research. This story is not an argument. It's an invitation. An invitation to ask, who gets to count as a knower? Why does expertise still live inside institutions? What everyday conversations we are not listening to? And what happens when unexpected encounters reshape what we think we know? I didn't use a dating app to find participants, but by being open and curious, I realized that democratic knowledge doesn't come from universities. It comes from people. And sometimes it finds you. On a date, on a walk, in a conversation you didn't plan. Maybe that's the point. Knowledge becomes democratic when we recognize it in the places we least expect it.